What's up, guys? Tommy Tech. Just got my upgraded guide tensioner pivots right here. Um, these are billet steel, if I remember right. This is one of the weak spots on the 4.6 5.4 mod motors. There's these little pivots right here for the chain guides. As you can see, look at the threads right here. I think this is an M6. These upgraded ones, you can get on M9 and I think a 9. But it's a lot stronger material, higher quality, and it'll help keep that weak point from breaking, because this is where your chain, like when the chain flexes, it just pivots a little bit. So if that breaks off, your guide will just go whoop, and your chain will jump teeth, and your pistons and valves will be doing some intimate action with each other. So, and a lot of times, from what I understand, what causes that is high revving and missing a shift, two-stepping, a lot of low RPM, low RPM, high loads, and a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of things that can cause that to happen, but this helps keep that from happening. I mean, you can literally build an incredibly strong engine with very expensive parts, and this weak link, you don't change this out. If you're building high horsepower, that is, you don't change this out, you will see your money go down the drain. So I figured, since I'm putting the engine back together and I have everything apart, I will go ahead and spend the money on this kit. And this thing is a piece of fucking art right here. So that way I won't have to worry about that down the road, because I do have a two-step that I want to use, and I'm running obviously a turbo, so this would be a worthwhile insurance. Okay, so this plate will go over here on the block, and you can screw it in. I'll probably grab a couple of the timing cover bolts and screw it in to help secure it. And it also fits on a little this little kind of little dowel pins or whatever. It kind of holds it onto there. So once you get that on there, what you're going to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something in there, and I'm going to measure the thread depth so I don't over drill. And what I am going to do is I'm going to take a piece of straw, and I'm going to measure the thread depth with this on here. And then I'm going to use a piece of tape. Okay, so this plate will go over here on the block, and you can screw it in. I'll probably grab a couple of the timing cover bolts and screw it in to help secure it. And it also fits on a little kind of little dowel pins or whatever. It kind of holds it onto there. So once you get that on there, what you're going to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something in there, and I'm going to measure the thread depth so I don't over drill. And these collars right here, and I got to put this back in position. Some fell on the ground. But anyway, what you'll do is you'll adjust these collars. So I'm guessing this is for how keeping your drill from going too deep. That's my guess. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a piece of straw, and I'm going to measure the thread depth with this on here. And then I'm going to use a piece of tape, and I'm also going to adjust this. And that way I won't drill too deep. I'll drill it and then tap it, and then I can screw the new dowel pins in, or the guide pins in, and it's simple as that. And then I'll put some Loctite. Now I have the passenger side head fitted on the block. As you see, I got the gasket on there, sitting on the dowels. So it is ready for the head studs. Now, upon disassembly, you are going to want to spray some brake clean or some type of solvent cleaner to get the shipping oils off of it, because it comes with an oil. So you're going to want it to be pretty clean before you apply the torque lube and install it in the head. This is the lube you want to use. It doesn't come with the kit. You can order it separately. Usually your kit will come with a pack like this. I'll use this because it has a brush on it. And what you're going to want to do is, I have these labeled. This is block side, head side. As you can see, it has the Allen key. Now, when you install these, you're going to want to hand thread them in. You don't want to apply any torque or anything like that. And then at the very end, give it a slight snug with an Allen key. But you don't want to over tighten it like that. And then you also want to make sure you have plenty of the lube on the threads. And you want to liberally coat it like this, all around the threads, just like that. Now, there's 10 bolt holes for the 3-valve heads. Now, it might get a little tough to tighten it with your hand, because your hand's going to be probably slick, a little greasy. At that point, you can probably take the Allen socket and go ahead and spin it down. Just make sure you snug it down. Want to make sure you definitely lube up these bolts with the ARP lube all over the bolt, the threads, the shaft, the whole thing. And then once you're got it in there, just go ahead and drop it in there. I might have to add a little bit more. Get that down in there, the whole thing, the threads all the way to the top. Let's go ahead and take what size is this? 4mm Allen head. Get that in there. Go ahead and snug that all the way down until it's level with the rest of them. It's going to take you a little bit to get them all the way in there. I'm gonna go ahead and skip past this, show you once I'm done. Alright, just keep going until you feel it bottom out. You're gonna be able to tell, because even when you put your hand further out to get more leverage, you can tell that it's pretty much bottomed out. Almost there. And that's pretty much it. And then you come over here, you grab your washer. Now the ARP, this must be a newer thing. They have these little grooves in them. That side, you're going to put the lube on that side and face down. What it helps it do is it helps it bite into the top of the head. So that way it doesn't spin when you're torquing them down. I'm going to try to do this while holding the camera. We'll do that. And, oh, of course. Drops down in there. You're also going to want to make sure you put that lubricant on the underside of the nut as well. Go ahead and try to hand start that. have the socket right here. Now I'll go ahead and snug it down with just the socket. And once you get everything in there, go over everything, make sure everything looks good before you begin the torquing sequence. Make sure there's no wires caught underneath the head or anything like that, or any irregularities as far as the mating surface goes, and just make sure everything looks good before you begin the torque sequence, because once you begin the torque sequence, it's pretty much the point of no return for the head gasket for the most part. So this will also be the time you want to go ahead and cover your intake ports, because now that you're putting everything back together, you don't want anything to fall into the cylinders, because you won't be able to get it, and you start it up and you have a little piece of metal in there, everything you just did was for nothing. So make sure you cover that up, and once you're done with everything, a good suggestion would be use the valve cover to cover the valve train up when you're not working in here. Help keep the dust and dirt out.